And then I did? I did? Which one? This one first? Hello, let's go and get started. How is everybody doing? Good. I was a couple minutes to get set up here. My name is Mike Starkey. I'm here from the Santa Rosa Junior College, and I'm here to share a project that I've been working on. Hey. I know, I'm sorry. That's all right. I'm here to share a project I've been working on for, well, much too long now, but it's actually finally come to fruition. The idea originally was to find a better way to connect students with employers for internships, contract work, and even better jobs, of course. So it started in my own department. I've been teaching digital media in the computer studies department for about 13 years in Santa Rosa. And I just noticed that when employers would come to the school, it was kind of a random hit and miss, who answered the phone, got the email, walked down the hall, and I thought there's got to be maybe a better way we could sort of centralize, make a kind of a clearinghouse, if you will, where it'd be easier for employers and students to find each other. Not that we didn't have a job board, we did. It just, I was trying to separate sort of digital media from the rest of it, just because that's the world I live in, and all those years, the number of times that people have asked me if I knew somebody that could do a logo, some editing, build a website, whatever it is. So that's where it all started. And a year ago, I was at this conference, and we just sort of were in the first stage of being able to present it, and it's come a long way since then. And a year ago, I met Gary and Bill, who are back here, and have really been supportive of the project, and really gave me some good direction and kind of, how to move on to the next step. And what's happened since then is Michael McKeever, who is also here, who teaches in Santa Rosa in our department, his involvement with MPICT, what happened over time was MPICT decided to get involved with this to a level of continuing the funding into this year, because the grant that we started with to build this ended at the end of 2011. So we now have funding that allows us to move further, and they've even gone a little further and really partnered in the sense of helping us develop it here forward. So to me that's pretty exciting, because I've been working on this on my own for quite a while, and it's nice to have sort of more people in the room and more eyes to look at it and more opinions. The reason I'm showing this, how many people are aware of the Bay Area Science Festival that just happened? So that was kind of a big deal. That's the first time that's happened in the Bay Area. They've been going around the country for a while. The reason I was excited about this is because the dean, Robert Chudnovsky, who I work with in Santa Rosa, was charged by our president, Dr. Agrella, to participate in this. So we brought in 7 or 8 disciplines, chemistry, biology, and so on. But we included digital media. And one of my, apparently this has just happened as I put together a digital media program and this job site, it's becoming my charge somehow to create the new acronym from STEM to STEAM. I'm trying to include art, because digital media is the tool that is used to display all the technology, all the information. So, for example, of course, video game design gets a lot of young people's interest. To me, it's a great sizzle, but it's more important to really express, certainly to parents, but that if you know those skills, you really are sort of primed and ready for the modulation simulation, which of course ties to science and technology and engineering. So, for example, a good friend of mine is a director at NASA, and I had him come out to Santa Rosa Junior College in spring of last year, and he did a presentation about his whole career at NASA. He's done a lot of things, including landing the Pathfinder, and now currently doing this Curiosity that's on the mission right now up in Mars. So he's part of the well, launched Ascent and now at a director level. So anyway, he came and did his presentation about his career at NASA, and why it was important to me was because we brought, of course, all the STEM students, but we also brought all the digital media students, not only from Santa Rosa, but from the 9 high schools that are in our area. And this merging with MPICT, I think, is really significant. And as James talked about this morning, the acronym ICT is really the focus here of this conference, and it's one of MPICT's main charges is to really get that expressed in the United States, because it's more of a European acronym. We're more used to IT, of course. So anyway, I say all that to say that this connection between art and science, I think, is really key. I started this idea with the job site in particular, really focused just on digital media, and now that we've connected with the technology side, I think it's really going to be good for all of us. It's also important because I have no idea where the line begins and ends anymore. It's all just a big blur as far as what's IT and what's media, and it's just all kind of coming together. So MPICT support is really important. So I just show this just to let you know. This, again, it was kind of the first ever, but it really did encompass the whole Bay Area. We, of course, were in the North Bay. Santa Rosa Junior College was a huge sponsor of the event. We had a great turnout. One of the things, and I don't think I have audio. We were just kind of looking at it here, but I'll just kind of buzz through this real quick. This is a video that I put together. It's about 3 minutes long. We're doing a presentation for our school in about a week. So I'll just show you. Let's just kind of skim through it. Here's some shots that I took while we were there. And again, this was at Infineon Raceway. This was November 5th. And so if you've ever been involved with something like the Maker Faire, it's kind of like that, which is also very cool. So this is our digital media station set up right here. And I've got some video footage that we got from UCSF, who was sponsoring the main event. Actually, I can, even if I don't have audio, I'll just go ahead and just play this while I'm talking about it. Just have a little background. Maybe I should just mute this. Just let it play then. It's only that 3 minutes. Okay. That's good. Okay. Again, this is just a couple minutes long in the book. But the reason I'm bringing this to the table is just, again, really showing this combination of sort of the art side and the science side, how it's coming together. Did anybody by chance attend any of this? Well, I strongly encourage. It will be happening again next year. It was a free event. It was just at Infineon. We probably had 3,000 or 4,000 people show up, and it was, like a lot of things, the first time out, it takes a little bit of, it just gets better the next time around. So they did a little story about this on Comcast.
Robert Jadowski is with us right now. He's Dean of Instruction and Technical Services. Now, you're involved in the Science Festival, is that right? Right. I was asked by our president, Dr. Robert Groa, to sit in on a few of the steering committees where things were starting to just be formulated. And I continued on with that role. And having a science background myself, just fell in love with the concept. What will your role be in the Science Festival, the North Bay Science Festival, Santa Rosa Junior College, since we'll have 8 exhibits at Infineon here? First of all, science is very cool, and technology allows you, again, coming from the educational standpoint, to teach and to learn on a whole different plane. We have more tools in our toolbox so that learning and teaching can take place in a more effective way.
That was my favorite part. The human brain, yeah. And again, a couple more shots from Infineon, and then also this educators giveaway was a big deal. There was a lot of donations from a lot of companies to help instructors, here for their classrooms. And I'm just waiting because I want to show you my little graphic I just made last night. Not this one, but the I am changing STEM. I found one other guy in Texas who's on the same mission. So we'll see if that works. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I guess we get the lights back on now. Get this stuff out of the way. Well, actually, I don't know if we want lights or not. Maybe you guys can tell me.
About half of the lights.
Half?
That is half, isn't it?
Okay. Is that all right? Okay, so here's some basic contact information if you want to follow up with me. Email address. The website is called DigICTjobs.com. So we just came up with this URL, and this came from sort of, again, this hybrid between digital media, and ICT, because MPICT has now partnered with us. We wanted to help them with the carrying on the ICT acronym. So here it is. And let me just open up the site itself. And I've got a couple logins there if you're interested to jump in there. You certainly can. And I'm just going to show you what it looks like from both a student side and from an employer side. So again, the website, the URL is DigICTjobs.com. And then once you're in fact, let me just go through the steps here. Let me log out of here. Yeah, this is what it looks like when you first get to the home page. And you'll notice what started as just 3 colleges. It was Santa Rosa, Napa, and Marin. We've now, because we're with MPICT, we were able to add Foothill, Maloney, Cabrillo, City College. City College, thank you. Right where I'm standing. Yeah. Sorry, City College. So in addition, we've got Bill's organization, which is WOW, and then of course we've got the MPICT logo right here. So this is really helpful. We've now got 7 colleges, and the whole thing is very new. We just rolled this out about a week ago. So our goal and our focus right now is to really get students to get in there and create some nice profiles. Because we've set up the room, we need to kind of decorate it with some really good-looking profiles so that when employers start to come in and they're looking around, that they see a good representation of a lot of variety of skills. And, of course, the real important part of this is making some matches happen. So we have some testimonials, and we can, it'll sort of build on itself. So this is where it starts. And if you want to log in, you can just go up here to the top here, and that's this. I'm covering up the first letter, but it's student test 2, new media, or employer test 2. So let me just fold this up a little bit so it's easier to see. Okay, so you can log in as either a student or a employer if you'd like to, or you can just watch. You don't have to do it.
Is there some reason we would want to join?
Oh, even better. I really encourage you just to join and create your own account. So. And either way, or in addition to, because joining would absolutely be the best thing for you to do, go ahead and take note of these 2 samples that you can log in with just to see a complete student profile, to see a complete employer profile. If you want to do it from the interactive side, you can see those profiles either way, but if you want to just look at what it looks like to see a full account, you can. Yeah. Yeah, so the password is 12345. It's let me just finish my login here.
Not on the same screen as on the original screen. Password tomorrow screen.
No, this is something else. This is for the Wi-Fi. Okay, that I can't help you with. In a moment. I think Grace can help you. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you log in. Again, this is as a student, and you'll see this is the full profile. And I'll just kind of go through, I'll give you the quick tour here. This area right here, this really is the backbone of the whole thing. It's a skill set and a category sketch. So it would be like 3D animation, for example, and then that's an umbrella term. And then there would be 3D Studio Max, Maya, there's programming languages. There's the general term and the specific programs that somebody knows. So that's what creates the match on the back end. And we'll come back to that in just a second. Space here for your basic introduction. Top reasons that you would be a good person to hire, education history, work history. And all of this is done with either text fields or drop-down menus, so it's very easy and very consistent and time efficient as far as filling it out. This Edit My Profile button right here is only there when you're logged into your account, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that just to show you. This is what it looks like if you do go through the process of creating an account, which again I would greatly appreciate it if you would, because one of the things, I'll just point out the contact button here, we're really encouraging people to just jump in and give us feedback, because as a lot of these kinds of things go, we need people to just use it and let us know what's working, what's not working. Yeah.
The career categories, you don't just have software developer or software engineer or computer programmer.
It's everybody. Yeah, so it's...
You don't have any of those three.
Oh, okay.
The career categories.
Yes, and that's the exact kind of thing I'm looking for is more. So this was just put together as a first list. It's very easy to modify this list so we can add and delete categories. This is something we're kind of going through right now because we're trying to decide a good balance to have successful matches to get it going. So do we have too many, too few? Is it broad enough? Is it specific enough? And
I don't know which one top, but one of those three, if you would just add one of those three.
And what would be great is you can either send it to my email's right here or to the contact button, because I'll get a copy of that as well. So any suggestions for category skills or any feedback on the functionality would be really, really appreciated. So again, here's the categories. And again, we've got a combination of digital media and ICT. Here's the skills, programming languages, and then there's additional information as far as the year, graduation year, awards, associations, other languages, and so on. So again, I just want to show you kind of how it all connects back to the profile. So if I went across this button, this little sub-menu, that's the summary. That fills out that box on the upper left that we just looked at that has the skills and categories. This is where you fill in the introduction, the top 3 reasons that you would be a good person to hire. This is the education history. You can come in here, because a lot of people, especially the junior colleges, we've got probably 40,000 students, 40,000 students, and the average age is about 35, and a lot of people already have a degree, and so there's a place where you can list a degree that you might have had from another school, so you can put school in, put it in whatever order you would like. And then, of course, work history. And because we deal with, at a community college, we're dealing with students from 16 to 80. We've got a whole wide variety. So the younger students are going to have less education and work experience, but that's okay. It's here to really serve everybody. So all these 4 tabs right here are what's creating the text that you see here in the basic profile. So I'm just going to go across well, before I do that, I'm going to go across all the links here. This is all how you manage your profile. But let me just go down the right side here quickly before I go across the login box. You can load in a resume, a PDF resume, a PDF portfolio. You can host videos. So, for example, we're just using YouTube right now. If you post a video on YouTube, you take the embed code, paste it in here, and now you have a player that is built in right to the website. One of the goals is really to keep everything internal here, because that's the whole point of this, is it's a one-stop shop. Everything's in one place. So there's an example. This could be an animation. It could be any type of work that you want to display using video. Underneath that, we've got albums for still images. You can have as many images as you want. You can group them into albums. So if you have some kind of theme that you would like to show, for example, sketches, drawings, anything that kind of showcases something you want to do with a still image. So the galleries are right here. They're actually called albums. And every profile also has a blog. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to be used yet, but it was available, so there's a blog available for every profile. And the focus of the whole, there's kind of two sets of three. There's students, employers, and faculty, and there's internships, contract work, and jobs. That's really the focus of the whole thing. So I'm going to go across the links here for the student, and then we're going to switch over to the employer's view, and they're very similar with a couple of differences. Of course, the students aren't posting positions, for example, but most everything else is the same. This add button across the top, so add photo, this is how you would start to populate all your images down here that you can start to group into albums. It's just got a loader right here, so it's very easy to get images into your well here, and then you can work with them from here. You'll notice that any of these pictures you can add to the album, you can remove, you can edit the description. You could also put it into the profile photo. So for example, if you remember right now, this particular profile has this image loaded right here. If you go into the photos, let's say you wanted a picture of yourself, you could just put this in, and now your profile photo is updated to this. So it could be a drawing, a photo, whatever you would like. It's completely optional. So that's the add photo. Add video, this is what I was talking about earlier. The embed code, you just copy and paste from YouTube. It goes right here. That's pretty much it. You can put a poster frame or a thumbnail if you would like. A title, description, and then categories. And again, these are all these categories and skills are used throughout the whole site. So, and the reason they're there is so that when we do searches with the database, we can easily find, in this case, videos, or more importantly, when we're doing the matches with students and employers. Here's the blog post. Okay, I'm going to go across the bottom here. So we've already covered the profile. Again, that's where everything displays in one place, so you can, again, see it all here. I will point out, too, even though I'm really trying to keep this self-contained, there is a link here that when you're setting up your profile, you can, in fact, have a website. If you have a website that you've already built somewhere else, if you want to showcase your work, as much as we're trying to keep it all here, at the same time, we want to allow somebody to, open up a separate window so you could showcase something you've got at another URL. Okay, so the photos across the links, it's the same images we just saw without the loader. Here's a list. If you have several videos, they're all going to be here. This is where you manage your videos as far as editing the description or deleting or adding new ones. The next three things I'm going to show you here I think are really probably three of the most powerful parts of the whole, or important parts of the whole site here. The first thing, messages. So every account has these three boxes. You've got an inbox, a sent box, and the most important one is the middle box, which in this case for the student is sent job application. So it keeps track of when you applied to a job. It doesn't allow you to reapply. So once you've applied, it just says, okay, you've already applied to that job, so you don't keep submitting because you forgot. So it keeps track of any applications that you send into any employer, so you can see the message, see the date. And on the employer's end, instead of a sent job apps, they have a received job apps. So everybody has these same three boxes. All of the messaging is internal within the site, so there's no spam. And everything that's in here is just related to the site. And I think that's really important, because I don't know about you, but I can never find anything I need in my email because it's full of all this other stuff. So this is just for the site. And if you have some activity, let's say you're a student and you apply, and then you get a message back from an employer, you will get a message sent to your external email with a link saying you've got activity, you've got a new message, and it goes straight to your profile, so you don't have to keep logging in to see if anything's going on. It will tell you if something has changed. And I think that's, again, trying to make it as efficient as possible for everybody. So inbox, sent, that's all between people in the site. So if you're browsing, looking at other students or looking at employers, you can send messages to them directly through here, and it'll keep track. People can send messages to you directly, but nothing is being sent or received externally here, including the job apps. But again, they're in a separate box just to keep them separate from regular messages. In the account tab, not a whole lot here except that what you can do, of course, is change your password if you need to. And you have kind of one shot to customize your URL because it comes out with a number generated automatically that you, in this case, you can put your name if you want, if it's available. Here's the blog. We talked about that earlier. And then here's the second of the three things that I think are really important. These are bookmarks. So as you go through looking at students, employers, internships, contract work, jobs, whatever it is, they all have this bookmark or unbookmark feature that's right here. And you can see you can bookmark students, you can bookmark employers, faculty, jobs, and blogs. I don't have any blogs bookmarked there. So the point being is that as you just kind of fly through the site, you don't have to worry about finding something again or losing track of it. So you just hit bookmark, it's going to show up in your list, and again, just keeping it, it's always kind of these three things, students, employers, faculty, and the three types of jobs. Those are really the main things. So if, for example, I was looking at a list of students, you can see right here, like this one's already bookmarked. That's not bookmarked. Let me see, for example. Okay, so this one, let's say I wanted to save her profile. I hit bookmark. I go back to my bookmarks and look at students, and she's now added here at the bottom. So very easy to just turn them on and off. So from an employer's point of view, they do a search. They get 5, maybe 10 results, hopefully, when we get this all filled in or populated. They can see them in a list, keep track of the ones they want, and just kind of move on. The whole thing is about just being very efficient with time. Okay, the third, I think, really powerful part of this is the search, which is right up here on this nav bar. And you'll notice that it keeps showing up here on the right side too, because it's really the point of this whole thing. So when you search, you can search students, employers, faculty, jobs, blog, and you can save your searches. So if I go to search, this comes back to where we started. Except now we've got the schools. The only requirement, the only thing we're asking is that whoever is involved here has been associated with a community college in California. So even if it's alumni, it doesn't matter. Just that you're part of one of the schools that is now active in the site. Right now we have 7 schools. We are happy to add as many schools that want to be there. There's no charge for any of this for employers or students. So the whole point is just to get it being used. There's a lot of interest in the concept, and it's not really been tested yet. So that's that's why we're really encouraging people, especially students at this point, to create some solid profiles so that as we start to talk to employers through our promotion, that they really see the benefits for them. So if I was doing a search, I could search for students. I can put in as little as 1 criteria, or I can put in as detailed as I want. So again, if I just want to see all the students in Santa Rosa, I can do that. All the students in Napa, I can see that. If I want to see Santa Rosa students who know Photoshop, I can see that. Or I can, keep adding more skills. You can have up to 3, or it depends which profile, but 3 to 5 skills and categories. We're trying to get people focused so they don't just want to check the whole list, because that's not very helpful. So if I just want to see all the students in Santa Rosa, here is that. And it gives me a little breadcrumb here to tell me what my search was. I can save searches. The reason that's important is because if I put together, and imagine if you did a more detailed search, rather than recreating it every time you go in, you can just hit the save search and run it again. So we took that a step further for employers because we built a script that will automatically run any employer save searches every night, so that if new profiles have been added that now meet the criteria of the search that maybe it didn't the day prior, they'll get a notice saying you've got new results to your previously saved search. And I think, I was trying to approach every way I could that would benefit employers, because they're the ones we need. They're the ones that are busy. They're the ones that are hardest to get in. But if we make it, real user-friendly and servicing them when they don't, the less they have to do, the better. And if they get a result, it's good for all of us. So Again, I'm looking at saved searches here from a student's point of view, and I'm going to go back over and we'll look at it from an employer here in just a minute. So let me just do another search again, just to get some different results. If I come in here and do, I'll just pick, these are all in alphabetical order. I'll just pick Photoshop and see what we get. It should be kind of a mixed bag. So I've got Santa Rosa, and I got one student from Napa here. Now let me just show you this. I've got a bunch of students in here right now in varying stages of trying to put together a portfolio. It's one thing that people join to get in there, and then we get sort of half, we don't get all the profiles finished. So we're working on a way to sort of encourage people to complete the profiles and not forget about them, and really just at least get it complete so it's up and running. And here's somebody who's done a pretty good job. She's got her basic information here. She does have her own website right here. So this is what it looks like, like I said earlier. If you want to see a little more, you can open up that website in a separate window. She does have some albums put together here with her photography. And education history and some work history. She just started her own design firm. So this is somebody that might be looking for contract work, might be looking for a full-time job, who knows, or an employer might be coming in looking for somebody to just do a short-term assignment. Okay, I think before I jump out of here and go to the employer, I just want to make sure I've covered most of this. Let me show you one last tab here in the nav bar. This is what it looks like when you navigate the jobs tab. Again, the three categories: internships, positions, projects. Now what you'll notice is what populates this right here, there's one under internships, there's one under positions, and there happens to be three under projects available. That is based on the category. So when you post a position, you choose a category. When you look at when you browse all positions, it will only populate the specific category that was posted by the employer, which I think is just a nice way to see it. If I look at all the internships, for example, you'll see that here's all those categories that we saw, the broad term categories that we talked about earlier. And what will happen is this will get populated with however many there are. So you can see they're all listed here, but when you browse, when you're looking at all of them, that will only populate when there's something there to see. So internships, positions, all the same thing, using that same sort of backbone here. This is what one of the positions looks like. This is from, so we've got two employers in here right now, one in Petaluma, who also, the guy who works there also happens to be a faculty member in Santa Rosa. And then we've got, through our connection with MPICT, Oakhurst Media, which is in San Francisco. They put together a profile, put a couple positions up. So we've got, we're just getting it off the ground. But this is what a job posting looks like to a student. And you can see it says right here that this was already applied for, so that, again, you don't forget who you applied to. That would show up, of course, in your messages, in your sent job apps. Right here. So that's the Oakhurst Media. And I think that's, I'm giving you the quick tour, but that's pretty much it. Before I switch over to the employer side, is there any questions on anything?
What is your back-end software you're using?
It's a combination of PHP, MySQL, and a couple other things. I didn't do it myself. We worked with an outside vendor.
Right.
Yeah. And Dezoic Handshakes was also part of the platform that they use. So they kind of stacked a couple things together. Okay.
The main reason for doing this was because Craigslist and Monster.com was not sufficient.
So that's a good question. Why do this if we already have Monster.com, we already have Craigslist? I would say this really, the focus here is to get, which is turning out to be a wide range. We've got ICT/digital media, which is all part of the same thing, in one place. I've looked at a lot of job boards, and it's difficult to find and sort of pinpoint exactly what you want. It's either they're overwhelming because there's thousands or tens of thousands of jobs, or the opposite, there's kind of a ghost town, nobody's really there, they're old postings, just difficult to get to the exact thing you're looking for. The other thing that James mentioned this morning at the opening was this whole idea of what we call things. And so this is helping define some of those terms for what the jobs are, the job descriptions, the positions, because there's a lot of confusion on how to name things. So I think, again, just getting something very centralized that's focused on this, even though it's a wide term, putting it in one place.
Do you think that students are going to be able to match more easily with employers and employers back to students? I mean, since we're at the community college, I mean, is that...
So do we think it's easier for students and employers to match through this? Yes. And it's specifically focused on just community colleges. So it's not, that's why it's not Monster. That's why it's a little separate from the general school job board that has everything, all jobs for all kinds of students. This is specific just to what we're focused on here. And the reason that faculty are in here is because employers have a history of wanting to sort of contact faculty at different colleges and say, who's your programming instructor? Who's your digital media instructor? Because they're looking for a recommendation or something or a question answered. So they can also search for faculty in a certain area to find a connection. Again, trying to just not reestablish, but continue what's already been happening between employers and community colleges. And again, just make it in one spot.
Yeah, and I'd also like to respond to your question about having Phil here, what question about having partnered with Mike on this. I've had opportunity to look at this in depth, including the organization that we've partnered with that developed a lot of back-end code. Two thoughts come to my mind. Number one, I think there isn't a silver bullet for jobs. I mean, at the end of the day, students need a lot of resources for jobs. This is one probably among many. The other thing is, and it's free, which is a beautiful thing for both those that are posted and those that, I mean, that will always probably be the case. But at the end of the day, it's a free resource. Monster is not always free. So the other thing is the goal. The other thing I think this really provides on the back end is some pretty robust features that you wouldn't necessarily find on Craigslist. So it's a little bit more in depth per se, and that's not to suggest that students won't use Craigslist because they should. But this actually connects in many ways a lot of features and functions that I got to say, my good job, because I know how much work that you put into this.
Well, thank you. Yeah, Bill saw this a year ago when it was barely propped up.
This is not only a labor of love to Michael. This is a hell of a lot of work, not to mention a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah.
We didn't program this on the back of the napkin. We're talking about some heavy lifting.
Yeah, it's a painful process. I don't know if I would do it again, but yeah.
Is the technology distributable or licensable?
Yes, and it's scalable too. So we're focusing just on California community colleges. It could scale beyond that. Is it licensable? Very possible. What we're trying to do before we go to the next level, whatever it's going to be, is stay focused with what we have here and make sure we get a really good working model, because it could be transferred to other departments. It could be used for a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm looking at, because I'm from Southern California, and right now, for good reasons, obviously, the focus is relatively local, and I see that as an advantage, not a disadvantage, in that when you do, as a professor, when I get a phone call, hey, who's a great networking student or a great programmer, it's usually a local employer. And so in some ways, to me, it would make sense to have a whole bunch of these at various college districts or combined districts, and that's why I was asking.
It's a good question, because I've already talked to a lot of different schools, including Southern California. So there will be other schools jumping into this pretty soon. And there will be a point when we have to rake it up a little further, and I'm not sure exactly how we'll do that yet. But if we did get good representation from both Northern and Southern California, that would only be a good thing for everybody, because it also encourages internships to, for example, go beyond your local area. You could go further away. There is a guy named Steve Wright, who's the director of the MEI initiative, which is at the state level. He's very interested in this too, because his focus is internships. He thinks that you get internships, you get jobs, which which is true. And I also think, in addition to that, if we get our screen back, that it's important to also have a local connection just to get somebody to get some particular job done or to hire somebody.
And Mike, just one other thing that I don't know if you're addressing because I haven't had a chance to talk to you about this, but another advantage could be a vetting process, right? You don't know if you're on Craigslist who exactly is on the other side of the fence.
That is true. That is another point. So did we lose our?
Yeah, can you share again? Can you go?
One of the advantages of working with DigICT now is that, as you know, it's not in California, and the partners in Nevada and Hawaii are interested as well. Right? So how we scale it out, and how we break it out, or put everything in one pot, and maybe and search for a region that'll kind of point out things.
Yeah, that would be a good way to have an opening page which is such a region. Because I'm very interested in participating because I get the calls all the time.
Okay, I don't seem to be able to have the graphic back up, so let me just point out because what I wanted to show you from the employer's point of view on the site was, again, trying to think of ways that will really help the employer. We realize that there's a difference between a position and an opening, for example. So if an employer goes through the steps of creating a position that they want to post, if they don't have an opening currently, they can hide the position, but it's still in their profile. So they can toggle positions on and off as far as the visibility and just be able to say, I'm hiring 2 people for this position, it's full, now it's off. So when they come back in, they can just repost the same position without filling it out. It's like saving a search. I would really like to show you the employer's profile if I get it.
Toggle on your machine.
It's just dead. Yeah.
So the use case, for us is the employer calls us up and says, you have a great student. So would I